What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Today on the program, speaking of entertainment, I have Craig Jamieson. Oh, you know Craig Jamieson. He's out there in London. Not that London, London, Ontario, in Canada. Oh, yeah, he's been doing it on and off for about 10 years. So I'm excited to have you listen to the man, Craig Jamieson. So stick around for the next few minutes. Let's see. This week's shows, I will be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night. My one public show this week. The Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. They got a full bar. The kitchen's open. Good food. Check out the food. They got 10 diamond-style pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, you check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, Friday nights. I am there. I'm there almost every Friday night. I'm so happy, so privileged, so honored to be a part of that show every Friday night. Or at least, 48, 49 Fridays out of the year. That's not bad. Every once in a while, I get another gig or some other obligation where I can't be there. But most Friday nights, you'll find me at the Rab, Conway, Arkansas, the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. You're the stars of the show, at least for a few minutes. Yeah, pick a song, sing a song, and you get to be the star of the show. A little concert starring each and every one of you. And then on Saturday, I think I have a private party. Kind of excited about that. I did a wedding last weekend. Oh my goodness, it was so good. The bride has been on the podcast. I could talk about it now since it's all past. She's the Purple Lotus on the podcast, Casey. Yeah, so look that up. Maybe you can hear a little bit about her story. So I got to do her wedding. Her and Russell are well on their way. What a great party. What a great party. Great people. I love doing weddings. I do. I've been doing them for over 30 years. I am enjoying myself. I think I'll keep doing them as long as people keep inviting me to do them. That's great. It's nice to be on stage. Nice to be a part of the show, this business we call show. Speaking of show business, let's get into it with Craig Jamieson. I got him on Zoom. I'm learning how to use this Zoom since Skype took a dump on me. So, I think it's working out. It's working out just fine. I got him on Zoom, so if you're listening to the audio version of this, check out the video version on my YouTube, youtube.com/user/KeysDan. Zooming Craig Jamieson now. Greg Jamieson's in my face. What's up, Rockstar?
Hey, Dan. Good, man. How you doing?
Oh, it's so good, man. So good. So good to talk to a man from Canada. From London? London, Canada? So when you tell people, hey, I'm from London, what do they assume all the time?
They actually assume what you're thinking, that, yeah, it's England.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking like this, you know. It's kind of funny, actually, because my parents are both from England. They immigrated here. So I do have British parents, and I grew up British-ish. I'm obsessed with tea and HP sauce and crumpets and the whole 9 yards.
Okay, I'm a little bit of an Anglophile, but I don't even know what tea and HP sauce is.
HP sauce? It's I think they might call it brown sauce here in Canada. It's like a steak sauce with the HP on it. It's kind of like similar to A1, but not as tangy. It's a bit more vinegary. It's it's like England's ketchup.
Well, I like my steak with a little sauce. I like that a lot, man. You know, it seems like people when the Europeans emigrated to North America, anywhere in North America, when they were coming up with names, they couldn't come up with anything on their own. They either stole the names from the indigenous people, or they said, "Oh, where did we come from? Oh, we came from London. Let's just name this London. We came from York. Let's just name this New York, New Amsterdam, New." It's
true.
It's like copying somebody's homework or copying off of somebody else's test when you're in grade school. But I digress, or maybe I ingress. I don't know. It's just a conversation with Craig Jamieson, trying to figure out the man behind the music. You've been doing this a while. You've been doing this for at least 10 years as far as YouTube's concerned. I see videos that are popped up, or at least videos of you doing performances at least 10 years ago. So you've been using this social media, this platform of YouTube, to promote Craig Jamieson and the rock star life for a while now.
Yeah. I've been doing it a long time. I mean, my first band, I was probably 14 years old. My dad put a guitar in my hand when I was 4 years old. I wrote my first song like coming out of grade 7, I think. So music's always been like a huge part of my life. It's in my bloodstream. I grew up in a musical household. My dad was a rocker from way back, and his 60s cover band Midlife Crisis echoed through the hallways of our house from the basement every Saturday. We went to union gigs and whatnot. There was always Beatles and Van Morrison and other classic rock bands playing in the house. And so it was just something that I was kind of born into. And then I always wanted to be a songwriter, like when I was, I think back actually to the 90s when Nirvana made it big, and I was a huge Kurt Cobain fan. And when I saw the video Smells Like Teen Spirit and saw him screaming and thrashing a guitar into a microphone, and I was like, that's it for me for sure. So I kind of emulated that and become sort of that outlet or that conduit to dealing with your woes, so to speak. So so I've been doing it a long time, and I've had several bands and several projects and toured around and had songs on the radio, and never really made it big, but it's always been something that I've always kind of aspired for. I took quite a bit of a hiatus, probably 10 years actually. Like
Okay.
I didn't stop writing, but I took, time off to raise a family and all that type of stuff as well. So, but I'm back, and looking to go hard, and got lots of releases coming. I just released a music video on Friday. I've been booking shows, and I'm excited for what's ahead for sure.
Well, it sounds like you have the rock star life, the attitude. You emulate Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain is the epitome of rock star through and through. Hard, fast, lives a hard, fast life, and sometimes fame comes at you real fast and real hard, and people don't leave you alone. Who knows why he did what he did? And if anybody wants to know what happened to Kurt Cobain, look it up. We don't need to bring it down, even though I probably just did.
Well, I
but
mean,
it is.
I'm a bit of a conspiracist when it comes to that. I don't think it was suicide personally.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we will get into that since you mentioned it. Let's go ahead and talk about. I've heard.
I don't know if you've seen the Kurt and Courtney documentary.
I haven't. Give me
It's
your.
pretty
Give me your
mind-blowing.
views.
Like there was a private investigator that was involved in the making of that and his findings, when he looked deeper into that whole scenario, that whole case. And there's some interesting insights that really actually kind of lead away from a suicide.
Well,
The biggest one is the suicide note.
okay.
It changed. It started as more of a goodbye to my fans type of letter. And then only in the last paragraph or whatever kind of got dark and suicidal. And the printing, like the actual scripture, changed completely too. It went from one handwriting to another.
Well,
And people would argue that was the heroine or whatever, but I don't think so.
That speaks volumes. I'm into the conspiracy theories and the true crime. I've been dabbling in that myself over the last few years. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I like that. I like that Craig Jamieson brings a theory to the beginning of his own podcast.
He also had so much heroin in his body that most human beings wouldn't even be able to lift, let alone operate a shotgun.
I got you.
Now, he did a lot of it, so you know, there's that argument also. But it's just interesting. It's just interesting to kind of hear both sides of the story and sort of put your own.
Right, you might develop a resistance to certain substances, and he may have. Rock stars, man, they live hard and die young. Is the most legendary rock stars. I'm glad that you didn't go that route, Craig Jamieson.
27 Club, I think they call it, right?
Well, that's
Janis
been
Joplin, Kurt Cobain, Lane Staley.
That's been debunked too, because over the years, any year, any age, a rock star, a creator that has been hurled into fame. They can die at any age, at any time, young or even youngish, even in their 50s. You're thinking, wow, that was a little bit too soon. They lived hard, and man, it's a tough life that you've decided to get into. Show business. It's a heartbreaker a lot of times. Many will try, but only a handful will succeed. And it looks like you've had some success. You say that you haven't made it big, but you have. Being in the music business, being in any kind of creative business, if you have people that come out and watch you, you're doing great. If people respond to what you're doing, you develop your small fan base, and it starts to grow and grow and grow as time progresses, as long as you keep giving the people what they want. But that's the problem. You have to keep on writing, keep on giving it, keep on going to the stages and performing, getting that group of guys together or girls, and okay, be here at this certain time, bring your instruments, bring your A game. We've rehearsed for months to play this show. And we have to be great, or they're not going to come back again. It's just it's nerve-wracking being in show business. All I do is I bring my equipment and I play Craig Jamieson songs when I'm at the club. You actually have to know how to play your instruments, and your instrument being your guitar and your voice. Those are your instruments, and your talent that you've been honing for at least 10 years. But you've been doing it. You've been doing it, man, since you were a little kid, 4 years old. Your dad gives you a guitar. Is this a full-size guitar, or was it a smaller guitar made for children?
No, I think it was like your standard kind of classical nylon guitar.
And how proficient did you become by 7th grade? You said you were writing songs in 7th grade. Were you playing for the chicks in the hallway? Playing for the kids and impressing them and singing your the Beatles songs and the Van Morrison songs that you heard your whole life?
You know what? I was always prone to originals. I never really did I found it more interesting to write my own stuff than play other people's. So I did that. I can remember I was 15 years old. I think I'd been in a band for 3 months or something like that, and we were at a beach party. Mm-hmm. It was Grand Bend or something like that anyway, and there was a guy who was performing there. He had an electric guitar and some tracks, and he was playing to the beach. And my friends dared me to ask him if I could play a song, so I did. And I went up and I played this song called Everyday Stoner, which was like one of the first songs I wrote. And and I played, and I just got up and just me and the guitar and just like wailed this out for the whole beach or whatever. and it was exhilarating. And I was like, yeah, I just love performing.
Yeah, but that's even more courageous than I thought you were. Craig Jamieson, you're my hero, bringing out your original songs. Because usually when somebody, and I say this, I say usually because almost every musician, every band leader, and I'm gonna call you a band leader because you're the front man, you're the guy. But it starts out playing covers to woo the band, to woo the crowd in. And then, once you got them in with three or four covers, hey, I'm going to play an original song. Bam. That's the norm. You came right out of the gate playing your own songs. That is courageous. Your heart is on your sleeve, man. And how did they respond? Did they like the stoner song?
Actually, yeah, it went over well.
Well, good deal, man.
I didn't get booed off the stage, if I remember.
And how old were you then?
15.
15 years old. Okay, at 15, you're okay. Now I'm getting it. At 15, you're a mutant. At 15, you're made of rubber. You can, jump from high-ish spots and still come be made of rubber. You can do things. So I tell people to do, be within reason. Do crazy things until they're about 25 or so, and then their brain starts to form, and then start to slow down, man, because your bones are brittle. Start to get brittle by 30. So but true. Hey, I remember before I was 25, man, I had my firefighting helmet behind me. I was doing that for 10 years in my 20s. So running into fires and being athletic and doing all the things you want to do. Yeah, 15. That's a great place to start. But okay, let's talk about little Craig Jamieson with his little guitar. And that was did you bring your guitar on that 15? Or did you play as well?
What, at that beach?
Yeah, that beach.
No, like I said, I went up to the guy who was playing and asked him if I could borrow his guitar and sing a song, and he obliged.
I got you. I got that part now.
He just gave me the mic and the guitar for 5 minutes and let me do my thing.
Fantastic. You weren't even using your own.
It's actually interesting to think about it because where's that guy now? And I don't even think I ever got his name, or if I did, I've forgotten it, and it was just so long ago. But
but whoever that is,
cool moment in my life. I mean, that was the first time that I think I actually went up and performed for a lot of people. And he facilitated that. So, if that guy's out there listening, then thank you.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you were telling that story, is that this is a pivotal moment in your life. Craig Jamieson, you had forks in the road. That was a fork right there. You could have not taken that dare or taken that dare, and you decided to take it. So from 15 years old, did that give you the courage to go and perform at maybe school events and stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it definitely didn't hurt. I've always been pretty thick-skinned, and I tend to not care what people think. So that's always kind of been a part of who I am, is that either love me or hate me kind of thing. You get what you get sort of thing. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not, so I've never really had issues performing. I would get nervous, I think, when I first started. You'd always get nervous playing the first song, but as soon as they clapped and cheered, you're like, okay, we're good, right? Now we can get on with this. And I can't remember too many times in my life where, I've had a negative experience being on stage. I find that most people are appreciative for the most part. I mean, there's the odd jerk, but I can remember playing in my pop punk band, and one chick was pretty vocal about telling us how much we sucked. But it just made us play harder and play more aggressive, and whatever, right? So, and the thing about music is so subjective. You can't please them all. That's one thing that I've kind of learned over the years, is that if you're not doing it for you, right? Because it's like not everybody's gonna love what you do, right? Like even the biggest stars on it, like Benson Boone, humongous star right now,
Yes.
and he goes on and like talks about how many people are just like screw Benson Boone, like on his socials and stuff like that, right? Like so there's always somebody that isn't gonna like what you're doing, no matter how big you are, right? So it's do it for you, do it for the passion, do it for the love, and if people want to come along for the ride, then that's all the better, right? So, and I think that music needs to come from a place of authenticity. You don't want to try and be anybody but who you are because people can smell that a mile away, right? They really, like I said, can see that sort of fake kind of persona coming out when you're trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not. So I really do believe that the true art and just comes from that place of authenticity, right?
Yeah, Craig Jamieson. I've never met a hater that was ever doing better than me. Lady in the audience probably was having a bad day. But
Yeah, whatever.
if you have a crowd of people that have shown up to this bar, whether to see you or not see you, whether you're part of a festival, maybe you're part of a rotating group of people that come to that regular bar, and there's a built-in crowd that is always there just waiting for the show. As long as you give them something, as long as you show that you've been practicing this particular song, and you put it out, you put the chord progression in the right kind of order to make it feel good in your ears. Yeah, I think most people are going to respond well. I've been nervous. Okay, I take this from Elvis. Elvis was nervous. Elvis Presley. I have to say Elvis Presley because there's a lot more Elvises now. No, not too many more. If you say Elvis, they know what Elvis you're talking about.
Usually.
But I take it from him. He was nervous before every show. Of course, he did take the uppers to get up and the downers to get down. And that may or may not be through fault of his own. But, hey, even at 42, we were talking about people that die young, the rock star life. That is kind of young, but he wasn't taking care of himself. He wasn't managing the fame, which it seems like you have. You found that 10 years ago you were in this band. How far had you gone? How much success had you had in this band before you gave it up to be a responsible family man? I'm guessing you got a day job with benefits to take care of your family, because sometimes rock stars don't have, well, I mean, I guess it's more in the United States. In Canada, you got at least health care, and we'll talk about that if you want. But, you had to get responsible and make some money to raise a family.
Like I've always had the day job and always tried to balance, the plan B with the plan A. And it was interesting. In my last interview, I was asked if I had any regrets. And I'm not one to have regrets, but I often wonder if I actually did go like all in, like really like lived off food stamps and did nothing but my music kind of thing, if it would have been any different. Maybe it would have, maybe it wouldn't have, but it's always been something that's kind of sat in the back of my mind, right? Because when you think of some of the people that have really made it in whatever they've made it in, like they sacrificed everything. There was no plan B, right? It was plan A or die kind of thing. And, something like that can be extremely motivational because, I've worked sales jobs or whatever where it's like if you don't sell anything, you don't eat. And it's kind of the same thing, right? You don't sell records, you don't eat kind of thing, right? So it's, but I never did that. I always kind of had the crutch of that day job.
Well, Craig Jamieson, the end of that plan is the part that I have trouble with. Plan A or die. I think one of our states is live free or die. No, the die part is what I don't want to deal with for a long time.
For sure.
And I'm glad, Craig Jamieson, it sounds like, look, hey, you went the right path. the right path for you and your family. You made sure that they were taken care of. You did what a man's supposed to do, is take care of their family, man. People, I guess I have old-fashioned values in that respect. I work 2, 3, 4 jobs to make sure that my family's taken care of. And, I count all the gigs that I do as separate jobs, but it's what you do. How big of a family did you end up having?
Yeah, no, it's respectable for sure. 2 girls. You kind of briefly met them. I think they came down yelling my name. They just got home from the park.
Oh, that's nice, man. See,
I had a wife for 13 years, but unfortunately, that's done. So,
hey, sometimes it works.
That's one of the
Sometimes
reasons why I'm able to pursue music again.
Yeah.
It's because it's kind of bittersweet. Like, I only see my kids half the time now, and I'm not in a marriage anymore. But it's also afforded me the time to do me as well. And that was always a big contention anyway. So that's kind of one of the reasons why it didn't work out. So.
Well, I mean, I guess that leads us into this latest offering that you have. I'm watching some of the videos that you put out, and the Honey song. It's kind of I've been in the friend zone many times in my life. I want a guy that's just like, I want a guy like you. He's very understanding, and you always listen to my problems, and you always take care of me. I want a guy like you, but not you. Not you.
Yeah.
Is that what Honey's about?
When it comes down to it, they want the bad boy, right?
Okay, I did see. I was watching one of the feeds of my TikTok, and a Ronald Reagan movie came up, and it says, "This is what women talk about when they want a real man." And at some point in the movie, Ronald Reagan slaps the girl because she goes, "I like it here. I want to stay right here." Okay, go on, honey. Go on home. No, I want to stay here. He slaps her for talking back to him in front of his boys. And is that what a real man is? Is that what a bad boy is? Is that what you want, ladies? Yeah. Come on, son. No, tell me about Honey. I mean, am I reading that right? Is it a unrequited love story?
Yeah, it is. It's funny though. There's no muse. I actually wrote this song for. Do you know what Taxi is?
Which Taxi?
The Taxi and R company. So they
Nope.
they do briefs for sync licensing. They're connected with music directors and for movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So my collaborator and I answered a brief for a song for kind of a coming of age type of movie, American Pie sort of thing. They gave the reference of not the 1975 by the Knocks, if you've ever heard that song. And so we wrote it for the brief. And like I said, at the time I was married, there was no unrequited love. Now, not to say that I wasn't pulling from things that happened to me in my teenage years, because there was definitely 1 or 2 women who pulled that on me for sure. But the song was written for a brief, and it's kind of funny that any woman that hears the song, they don't believe that it's not about anybody in particular.
Yeah, people that know you the best. This. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. They probably think, oh, that's about her, isn't it? No, it's not.
Yeah, the song's a story. It's the first person, I guess, narrator of the song is a character, right? Which I don't know if that kind of takes away from the magic of it all, that it didn't really happen. But at that, if you look at it, like you said, it's happened to a lot of people, right? Like I think that this song is super relatable, in that way, right? That everybody's had that experience where they really wanted to be with somebody, but that person didn't feel the same way.
Oh, Craig Jamieson, the magic of it all is it comes out of your head. Your muse or not, there is some kind of a muse that your life experiences have formed and made it, and you made them into a song. You're a storyteller, as well as any novelist, any movie maker. You're a storyteller. You tell your story through song. And now, did you take any lessons to play guitar? Did you learn and take any lessons on how to be a songwriter?
I took some lessons. I was self-taught through, like, I remember getting the good, like, this was back in the day, right? I'm really aging myself, but like, you remember like the Ultimate Guitar magazines or whatever, where they had like the tabs in the magazine. Like, this was before Ultimate Guitar Online, right? Where you could go and you could, learn any cover or whatever from there. You literally had to buy a magazine and they would feature Plush by Stone Temple Pilots, learn how to play the main riff, and it was in a magazine, right? So I was doing some of that to learn the techniques of sort of the 90s alternative players and stuff like that. I think the first song I ever learned was Soul Decision, or not Soul Decision, what was it? Runaway Train by Soul Asylum.
Soul Asylum, yeah.
Runaway Train, have a look at that one anyway. And then from there, I kind of hit like a plateau, I guess, where I was like, okay, I need lessons. I was looking for an easy class in public school too. And we had guitar, or not, sorry, high school. And we had guitar in high school, so I took that. And most of the time, we were playing classical guitar, like Ode to Joy and stuff. But my teacher was super cool, and at the end of the class, he would let us kind of jam out, whatever. So we'd spend the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the class playing like Rain by Blind Melon and songs like that. So I learned from other guys just in that guitar class as well. And then I got lessons with, he's actually a pretty renowned guitar player. I don't know if you would have heard him in your neck of woods, but he's pretty famous around here, Scott Zerk. Anyway, so he taught me for a few years. And then I was like, I've always seen the guitar as more of a tool. Like, I'm not setting out to be Van Halen or anything like that. And it's more, can I use it to write songs? Can I use it as a production tool? And once I got to that point, I felt like, not that there wasn't anything more to learn, but it just like the tool belt was full as far as what I needed to do what I wanted to do. So yeah, I did take lessons and I was self-taught, and never stop learning, continue to learn.
Yeah, it'd be very unusual if you were also the lead guitar. It's more typical that the singer-songwriter, if they are playing any kind of instrument, guitar, for example, they'll be using it as rhythm. To have Eddie Van Halen be the singer and the shredder, it's that I don't see that would ever. I don't know. Has that ever happened? Have you ever heard of a lead singer that also shreds?
David Mustaine from Megadeth.
Okay,
that guy had chops and could do the frontman thing. The Muse, obviously, that guy's a profound guitar player.
All right,
that guy's a rock star.
See, and this is also part of that many will enter and few will be. Many will try and few will enter. But you, I mean, you're picking. Man, your life is on a trajectory that I think you're heading in the right direction. You took it slow, so you'll have longevity when you do this. But when you were taking those lessons, did you meet any musicians that you still play with or that you still know? Or when you were doing your jam sessions, did you gel with anybody that you were able to take on the road?
One of the most rewarding things about being a musical artist is the people that you meet and the experiences that you have. And I've coveted some incredible friendships over the years, just from music, and guys and girls that I speak to even now. We can collaborate on shows together, or we can, jam, have beers, whatever we want to do, right? So, definitely. I've definitely met some amazing people through music. And ran, like one of my good friends, Sean Sullivan, who played in a band with me back in the day. I met him through Kijiji. I don't know if you guys have that in the US, but it's like a Craigslist. You guys have Craigslist, right?
We have Craigslist, and since I'm
Yeah.
talking to
So
Craig
Kijiji's
Jamieson,
like
are you the
Craigslist, right?
Craig?
So
Are you the Craig on Craigslist?
yeah, it's funny. The drummer of my band was like, we should call the group Craigslist.
Very nice. Very nice. No, but you
Yeah, so I do on Craigslist, the musicians like advertise that they're looking for players and stuff like that. So that's Kijiji here. And so I met this guy just online on a whim, just advertised for a guitar player. He comes stumbling into my life, literally. It was February, it was cold, there was ice on the driveway. I went to meet him and he fell on his ass while he was running around the corner with his guitar. That was the first experience I had meeting this guy. And I could tell by the way that he laughed it off, like he was just an easygoing good guy, right, immediately, and we hit it off right away. And you know, I've been to his wedding, like we're still great friends. So
that's nice, man. When you could build
and new friends too, like putting this new band together. The two guys in my band now are phenomenal dudes.
See, it's nice when you
So
can build friendships through this thing you call music. Now, I want to take it back just a little bit because you mentioned that you were using tabs. I never have figured out what tabs are. I've picked up guitars. I've had some people that have tried to teach me how to play over the years, but nothing ever stuck. Nothing so proficient to where I can take it on the stage. What is a tab? Do you actually put that on the neck of a guitar and put your fingers where the tabs are?
Yeah, so a tab is it's essentially it shows you where to put your finger so on the string, right? So if the tab is say like 0 1 or I'm trying to think of a tablature right now, but you've got the six strings, and yeah, so it would say on the E string, bottom E string, you want to hit 1. So that's the F note. But on a tab, it's just you hit 1 on the fret of the guitar with your first finger. And then let's say the next note is 3. That's the G note. But it's going to say, okay, to play this riff, you're going to want to go 1, 3 on the E and then go up to the B2, right? Which would be a C note. So F G C, right? And that's so it's just a way to show people how to play guitar without them actually having any theory.
Okay,
Because they
now
don't need to know they don't need to know what the notes on the guitar are, right? They just need to know the numbers on the frets. And the frets are the spaces on the neck.
well,
Right? And
it
it goes
sounds like you're
down
still
1,
thinking. You're still thinking of a certain spot to put your finger on the guitar to make a certain sound. So whether you call that a C or a 1, it's still the same sound. Is that is that right?
Yeah, it's still the same note. Like E1 is an F note.
Do they tell you that when you're learning
No,
tabs?
not on tab.
I
I
got
just
you.
know that from theory, but yeah, so but people who don't know theory, who can't read music, who don't know the notes on the guitars per se, it allows them to play guitar riffs without knowing that because they just know I'm going to put my finger on this string on this fret based on the number of the string and the number of the fret.
I wonder what's better, Craig Jamieson, learning the theory, learning how to actually play using
A
the
theory is
notes.
better, especially if you want to be like a studio musician, a jam band musician, or whatever, right? Because if somebody's like, "Yeah, we're playing this song in C," well, you want to know where all the notes are in C, right? You want to know that scale, which is an easy scale because there's no flats or sharps, so you just play every natural note in the key of C. But knowing that theory allows you to kind of sit in with any band, or if you're, I don't know, you want to write a riff or something around a chord progression, knowing what the theory of the notes that are in the key of the chord progression is going to be super helpful for you to be able to write something that's going to fit, that's going to sound in tune with that chord progression.
Well, I think
Whereas tab is just a way to, I don't want to say hacks because that's kind of a lack of better words because I don't want to discredit tabs, but it's definitely, I guess it's a formulation or a formula for people who don't know theory to be able to play guitar.
Well, I think
Now the
of your.
problem with that
Yeah,
is that
go
there's
ahead.
no tabs for original music, right? I mean, you can tab it out. Like I've tabbed stuff out for guys joining bands and things like
Oh,
that that I've written lead lines for and said, okay, here's the tabs for that, so they can play it. My buddy Sean, actually, he's really good with theory now, but when he first started, it was funny enough. It was funny actually. He came from the Guitar Hero era. So he played the video game Guitar Hero, was super awesome at it, was doing like Dragon Force on Expert and stuff, and then was like, where do I go now? And then he bought a real guitar. So he has amazingly fast technical fingers, but when he first started, his theory was non-existent. So I had to kind of help him know where to play. Now he's awesome. Like whenever I get together with him, he even just hears the key that I'm playing and he can play along with something lead wise. But it and I mean that there is a credit to learning theory is that it turns you from somebody who can just kind of play along to something that's given to them versus an artist, a creator, a composer of sorts, right?
that's so funny. I was watching that South Park episode where they had Guitar Hero and they were doing like a battle of the bands using Guitar Hero. I thought it was just pressing buttons, but I guess you have to have some kind of nimble fingers that could translate into playing actual guitar. That's
You know what's actually super funny is most musicians suck at Guitar Hero.
okay. I could see that because it's different.
Because
Playing video games is button pressing, right?
well, and it's hand-eye too, and most musicians play with feel in their ears.
I got you.
So, like I've got my buddy Brendan Curry who can play anything. He's the kind of guy that like you play him a song, a streamed song or something is okay, yep, that's in the key of A, yep, and he's doing and like within seconds he's playing along to the song, right? And he could play drums, he could play anything, just like a genius musician. But you sat him down at Guitar Hero, you put him on the drums of the guitar, and he absolutely was just terrible, right? Because it was more like it was hand-eye because you had to. I don't know if you play Guitar Hero, but as the buttons are coming across the fretboard or whatever, you have to hit it like exactly when it's coming on.
Yeah.
And especially if the video game isn't synced properly and the sound is off of what you can see. And again, musicians will play more by their ears and the feel. And so they're behind the beat, they get into the groove because most music you don't want to be on top of the beat anyway. Like
Yeah.
you always kind of want to play in that they call it the pocket, right? You want to play sort of behind the beat or ahead of the beat, depending on what you're going for. Unless it's like, EDM or whatever, that's got to be seriously quantized or whatever, right? But when you're playing an instrument, you want to play in the pocket or whatever. It gives it that groove, it gives it that feel, right? And Guitar Hero is literally about being quantized. It's literally about hitting the note exactly when the note needs to be hit visually.
Craig
So
Jamieson, just
that's
listening
that's
to
why
you.
it's funny. Most musicians, like
Yeah.
you would think, oh yeah, he's a musician, he's gonna be great at Guitar Hero. No, that's not the case.
Just listening to you talk about this just lets me know that you've been thinking and breathing and living this music thing through and through. You've got ideas on even how to play the video game version of it. And
Yeah.
having that theory in your background, I was thinking when you were talking about the notes and the changes and getting up on stage and having musicians play, what you've been thinking about. I was thinking of your fellow countryman, Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future when he gets up. It's a blues riff in A. Follow me for the
Yeah.
changes, and he
Yeah.
starts playing Johnny Be Good.
Love that.
But if those musicians hadn't had that theory, hadn't had the ability to follow, is that a thing when you're writing a song, when you have your guitar version and you take it to your bandmates at band practice, you have a little idea, but you need those bandmates to help you flesh it out. Do you?
Oh yeah.
You said you have a collaborator. Do you have a singer? You have a songwriter collaborator? Do you have somebody that you work with often?
Not as much. He collaborated with me on Honey. His name's Brad Gray, and I've given him credit on this record for sure. Great guy. We actually really clicked together well. But life, right? He's got things going on in his life that have not afforded him the time. And um, but yeah, it's interesting. I never used to collaborate. I always used to kind of wanted to 100% do my own thing, finish my own thing. I mean, I guess from the songwriting perspective, just chords and melodies and things like that, right? That was sort of a no touch zone. Don't mess with my melodies, don't mess with my lyrics, don't mess with my chords or whatever. You can play lead, you can play the drum parts, all this type of stuff or whatever. But I've learned over the years that collaboration can be quite powerful too.
Yeah, a writer can be
And
very.
Honey wouldn't be as strong a track as it has been for me without Brad.
Yeah,
We recorded it together in his basement studio. He did the drums on it. He did the bass line. He did the guitar solo. And so, like I said, I wouldn't have the song without him.
yeah, a writer can be very precious about his words. When they're turning, for example, turning a novel into a screenplay or a stage play. If the writer is on stage, if the writer's on set, I wrote it differently. They'll be very precious about the way that they've chosen their words, and I suspect a singer-songwriter would be just about the same. Although I've seen people do covers of other people's songs and change certain words, whether for politics or for, even television, changing certain
Yeah.
words to get it out there. And really, there's
That's the artistic vision, right? It's like I can remember, like because like you mentioned, we're storytellers, and certain changing words or changing phrases and things like that. Well, they might work phonetically better for the song because that is something that you really need to keep in mind is syllables and how the words fit with the beat and is the vocal too busy for the bass line and all these different things or whatever. But I think the one thing we struggle with as artists and storytellers is that we want to tell that story the way that we think that story needs to be told. So it's almost like you guys work around the story because the story is king, right?
well, I mean, one
But
of
that's not
the
always necessarily the case because you can have a great story, but if the melody's junk and it's not playing interplaying well with the music or whatever, then you don't really have
yeah.
you don't have a song anyway. You might as well just turn it into a poem or something, right? It all has to work together.
One of the things I've seen is if you're trying to pander to the audience that you're at, you wrote a song called London Town, and then you're playing in New York, and it's New York Town, so you change the lyric just to pander to the audience. I've seen that, especially with lists. Well, when Huey Lewis played in Miami, and he changed a few of the lyrics to Miami rather than New York or Chicago or whatever it was. So, I've seen different bands when I was living in Miami where they would change the lyric
Yeah.
to Miami to reflect the town just to get an easy scream. Just to really pander to the audience. Do you
That's
suspect
why
that
they're
you
doing it. Yeah, you're right. Pander is the perfect word.
Oh, but hey, when you're okay, I've seen you play. You have live videos, videos of you playing live, and now that's 10 years ago. I don't see anything new. Are you still out playing live? Or are you doing studio work primarily? There's different ways you could do this show business.
Yeah, no, like we're booking now. So, I'm maybe I can plug
Do it.
the so my label, Big Records, is big on charity events, and I've always had a passion and a soft spot for mental health awareness. So I had this idea of doing a show called Dance Away Your Depression. And I'm actually meeting with the venue guy on Thursday, and he's going to work with me on this. And yeah, so we're going to do this big event for, mental health awareness. And there's a a not-for-profit called Mind Your Mind, which is all about helping people get resources for mental health and stuff like that. And I had a friend work there a while ago, and I've always really liked the organization. Um, and so, yeah, that's a huge event that we're going to be selling tickets for that. Half the proceeds are going to be going to charity for building awareness around that. So that'll be in August, and that's one big thing we're working at. And then, yeah, I've just been reaching out to everybody, telling them about I'm ready to go, I'm ready to rock. We've we're what we're doing, and it's funny that you mentioned that people play the cover songs and the originals or whatever. We are doing that, but the one thing that we're doing is we've got almost like a live DJ experience because I use my laptop, so we've got like electronic bass and synth and stuff in the background with regular guitars and drums and vocals, so it gives a bit more of a dancey vibe. And we're playing like all of the biggest artists of today. We're covering their music, so we're doing Benson Boone, we're doing Harry Styles, we're doing Ed Sheeran, we're doing The Weeknd. We're doing all that, and then we're throwing in the originals as well, as they vibe in with the set. So we're looking to launch that show pretty much all over Ontario.
Have you practiced that Benson Boone scream?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that you're with Big Records. I've been dealing with them. I've been associated with them for the last few years, and Mark and Tara and the bunch over there. I've had so many of them on this podcast, and I've learned so much. It seems like they like to take care of their artists, and they give them opportunities. And this charity function sounds like it's one of those opportunities to get your music in front of a bunch of ears that can probably take you to the next level, which is great, man. It's great. It's a nice way of getting you out there. They do some good
work with sponsors as well. So there's like Sirius and iHeart and good sponsors like that. I find Big Records they empower you.
Yeah.
So they give you all the right tools. It's still up to you. It's still your business. It's still your road to travel, but they're there to support you along the way. It's been a good relationship. I actually met Mark probably a year before I actually settled down with my wife and kids and stuff like that. And I was on his label when he was just getting started.
How about that?
And we did a tour across Ontario. Yeah, I've always loved Mark and always loved what he does for independent artists. And when I realized that I had the opportunity to chase music again, first people that kind of came into my mind is somebody that I'd like to work with again. So I reached out to him. We hadn't chatted in 10 years, and it was insane because I called him and he was like, "Is this Craig Jamieson?" And I was like, "Holy fuck. Like we haven't talked in 10 years, man." And like he, you know what I mean? Because that's just the kind of guy he is, right? Like he is a genuine article, that guy. So,
well, it's nice to have to develop those relationships, so even business relationships. But I find that fellas are like that anyway. I've had my best buddy since high school, so we've known each other 40 years now, and we may not talk every day, we may not talk every month, but as soon as I pick up the phone, "Hey, what's up, John? Oh, what's up, Dan?" It's nice to hear from each other.
Yeah, I've got relationships like that in my life too. It's kind of, you pick up where you left off.
Exactly. Right? It's like you never, and that's good. And that says a lot about you, Craig Jamieson, is that you develop these relationships. You're a good dude. It's nice that you're a fine member of society. The love has its ups and downs, and you got your girls running around. I've seen them on the video. So if you're listening to the audio, you can see little heads pop up here and there. Thankfully, no faces. I like to be a little protective of younger people. I don't want to, unless their parents explicitly permit them to be on these TikToks, but and these videos. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. We share the same sentiment there. I don't put my kids on social media. I think it should be their choice, right?
Oh yeah. That's another thing is that we grew up before maybe social media really took off, but some of the kids are suing their parents for putting their pictures on Facebook all those years ago. I guess the first one going full circle to Nirvana. The baby that was on Nevermind, he grew up and he tried to sue Nirvana or the members of Nirvana, whoever owned the rights at this point. I don't know how successful it was, but the baby grew up and became a man and said, "Hey, I don't want that naked picture of me on those album covers." Not much you could do now that it's gold, maybe platinum. How many records are out there with his little baby pic?
Yeah, and his parents probably signed some kind of like waiver of rights sort of thing, right?
Maybe. Back then it was the Wild West. I mean, when I was coming up in the DJ business, we were sampling music, and we called it sampling, but it's outright stealing somebody else's beats. If I put
True.
If I took Honey's beats and made it into a rap song, how happy would Craig Jamieson be if he's not getting any royalties from that? How happy?
I don't know. I guess it would depend on what kind of attention it brought my way.
Okay. All right. You can do it for the experience. All right. All right. Look.
Sometimes what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
All right. So you are just building this, getting this off the ground again. Craig Jamieson looking to get out there and be a part of this show business. You've kind of gotten to a point. Well, you gotten to a point to where you're a bachelor who has, you have your children, you still have that responsibility to where you keep them part-time, I'm guessing?
Yeah. Yeah, I get them half the time.
And it affords you the ability to have some weekends free or even throughout the week. If your day job stops at 5, you could be to a gig by 6. Now, primarily, are you looking for Craig Jamieson, the solo guitarist, singer, songwriter, those kind of opportunities? Or do you have the Craig Jamieson band, and have you called it something else? Or is it Craig Jamieson, the band, those people?
So we're calling the group Craig Jamieson the Lucky Widmore Band.
Lucky Widmore, why?
Because my moniker through most of my music years was Lucky Widmore. And so my marketing guy thought that we should keep utilizing the name as kind of a nods off to almost like the artist I am and the former artist in a sense, and so that people who follow Lucky Widmore and knew about Lucky Widmore and whatnot could still relate with what I'm doing. So that's what we're doing. Right?
Well, I'm glad I'm hearing about that, because I was looking at your social media, your Facebook in particular. It has a logo of you as Craig Jamieson, but I didn't see anything about Lucky Widmore. Is there a page for that? Because I'm trying to make sure that I have your social media and all of your...
Yeah, if you Google Lucky Widmore, you'll find it everywhere.
Fantastic. All right, well,
One, it's...
Go ahead.
There's no other band named Lucky Widmore, and 2, I spent 10 years under that moniker, so there's lots of stuff. There's press releases, there's lots of stuff.
Yeah, I think
I just decided that I wanted to, back to that authenticity or whatever. I just wanted to start releasing music under my name as kind of relaunching myself as a rebrand. Something new, something exciting, and so that's kind of where we're at. And just to be my true self, and it's almost like by using my given name, it's almost like me saying, like, I'm not hiding anymore. This is me. This is who I am. This is what I want to do. So that's sort of the analogy behind it.
Yeah, I think of the branding, and Keys Dan has followed me from the Florida Keys. Here I am in Arkansas now, in in the deep South, I suppose, and Keys Dan has followed me. So having that branding, yeah, Keys Dan's not my real name. My real name's on my Facebook page. It says it right there. But you know, to have that authentic, well, to put your real name out there, and that's also bearing your soul for the people. You're giving people another part of you. You know, what's in a name? Well, a name means a lot. Without a name, you're not a person. I was listening to a podcast about, do you have to have a name? Yes, you do. You cannot go through this life with no name. You can go through life not telling people your name, but to have any kind of license, Social Security, any kind of government issued anything, you have to have a job. You have to have a name. So, I thought that was pretty interesting as well. But, you know,
it's your identity, right?
It is. Now, but you said you're launching yourself as Craig Jamieson, the singer-songwriter, and also Lucky Widmore, the band. That gives you the opportunity to play as a band and play as a solo artist as well. Are those the opportunities you're looking for?
Yeah, like, I'm not saying it won't happen, because I mean there has been discussions, and I'm interested in going down that path with my band members. But as it stands right now, and they've even said it, like, I'm the face, they're supporting me, right? Like, it's not like we're a band in the sense that we're sitting in a jam space writing songs together. Like, I'm a producer, so I'm a 100%er. I can take a song from, you know, a melody or a guitar riff or whatever and turn it into a song. I can program drums. I can play bass. I can do it all. So that was a turning point for me, was when it's empowering to be able to. I think Charlie Puth is one of my music idols, and he said you always want to be the one to, like, bring it home. Your song, you're the one who wants to bring it home. And he was talking about, like, mixing and mastering and things like that, right? If you can do it, right? And so over it started COVID time. I decided to teach myself how to produce. And so that's been a game changer when you can be 100%er, and you can take your idea and then turn it into a recording and put it out, and it's substantial. Like, it can compete with whatever's out there, and and people, because I think as human beings, that we become kind of predisposed to how music should sound, right? With all the auto tune and everything that's going on, like, people, if they hear anything that's slightly out of pitch, they might not know what's wrong, but they know something's wrong, right? So there's definitely a standard to music these days that you have to be able to achieve, right? In order to get people to listen to your music, unless, you know, they're into that more garage type of sound or whatever. But I'm going, like, my music is more on the mainstream side of things. Like, I'm going after the pop market.
Yeah,
so
in the
it needs to be polished, right?
Yeah, but back in the 50s and 60s, when music was new, when it was first being recorded, there was a handful, maybe two handfuls of studios in the world that people could go to and get recorded properly and get mixed, mastered properly. You're talking about that quality. That quality is hit and miss now. Everybody with a computer and a microphone and an interface of some kind thinks that they're a producer. And, you know, if you look behind me on the video, you got my Adobe Audition that's recording the audio, and I have the video being recorded by XSplit. What gear are you using? I'm kind of a gearhead. I mean, what do you use to record? I saw in one of your videos you had an SM7B similar to the one that I'm using here, but you ripped off the windscreen, and that's dangerous, man. But you took the windscreen off. Why would you do that?
We just did that for the video so you could see more of my face. It was just more of a present. That was the videographer's idea. He was like, let's take that off so we can see more of you.
To have a naked SM7B, it's kind of, wow, that's different, man. It looked different.
It looks weird, eh?
It did. But go ahead. Yeah, tell me about the gear.
It is a big, it's a big mic. It does cover a lot of your face, right? So, I mean, we could use the Shure 58 for the video, but
here, let me move it to the side.
SM7B is my go-to mic for sure. It's such a dynamic microphone for home recordings because it's the dynamic style, like it's great for background noise. It doesn't pick up too much around it, right? Like a condenser would. And it's just a workhorse, that mic. And for my voice, it has a lot of mid. So I think it brings out my voice pretty well. I use a Focusrite
the red box.
I just got the 4i4 actually. So
oh, because I have one of those up there somewhere. I don't use it anymore.
And then I use Ableton Live for my DAW. That's really it. Like that's really all you need.
Well, how did you teach yourself to do this? Is this all music videos or books?
What's that?
How did you learn how to use this? Music video? I mean, using videos or books?
Do I do music videos or books?
No, I'm saying when you were learning how to become a producer, to mix master your music, was it videos or books? How did you learn?
Yeah, mostly YouTube. Like how do I do this? And then you'd YouTube it, and then you'd watch a tutorial, and then you'd know. Yeah, it's incredible what you can learn, right? Like with the internet and the will to. Because you just jump in and you start doing it, and you're like you hit a wall, and you're like, okay, well I want to, I don't know, put reverb on this guitar, right? And so how do I do that, right? And then you just reverb Ableton or whatever, and then you start learning about plugins and the magic of plugins and all the different plugin companies and what are the best plugins and things like that as well. And then as a producer, you start having like your go-to stuff that works every time. And I think that's also how you kind of construct your sound too, by using the same plugins and things, right? So and it gets easy. Like it's funny that it took me like probably 3 years to become pretty good at production. And now it's like, I think about those times, right? Like the fix your muddy mix and all this type of stuff. And it's like, I don't have those issues anymore. So that's good.
Yeah. You mentioned YouTube, that you can learn everything on YouTube. Did I have to go to radio and television school to learn this craft? Well, I'm glad I went, but it was kind of expensive. I guess I could have learned most of this stuff on YouTube, but to get to that point, you got to know what questions to ask. So maybe that's what school taught me, is which questions to ask.
And now we have AI, which is just even more insane. And I have some AI plugins now, and I don't utilize them that often, but if I have like a writer's block or something, I can hit a button and it will generate a melody for me. I can hit a button, it'll generate a bass line. Hit a button, it generates a drum track. Like you can literally make a beat using AI plugins in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I use AI to write some scripts sometimes when I'm doing true crime videos or tutorial videos or things that I want to talk about on, maybe TikTok or YouTube. AI is a tool. Anyone who's afraid of it, technology. I think I briefly mentioned that I came up before the internet. I came up before digital. I was analog. I know how to splice tape together when I was doing reel to reel, cutting and splicing. There's a reason why it's still called cutting and splicing, because you used to cut that tape and then you'd put the two pieces together and tape it together with some Scotch tape, and that's cut and splicing. That's for real, man. And that was the first foray into this music production. and audio production, because I think I've done a little music production in my day, but mostly now it's audio production and video production, and you have to learn that craft. So yeah, do you have to go to school, or can you learn everything on YouTube now? I know doctors and scientists still need to go to school. Go to school, save the world. But the rest of us, maybe not. Do you think that you could have learned everything that you learned? Did you ever go to college?
Well, no, and you know what's crazy is like I spent 6 years in the recruitment and staffing industry, and there was this real shift where companies like Amazon and Google and like big company Microsoft, they started saying, okay, we don't need to hire people with university educations anymore.
Huh.
We just want people that have skills, and it doesn't matter how they get them, whether they learned it on YouTube, self-taught, whatever it might be. If they can come in and they can show us, that they can program or they can code or they can do anything, then we'll hire them. It doesn't matter if they have a degree or not. And I think personally, because I never finished high school, so I applaud this because not everybody has, the ideal, I guess, situation where, I mean, everyone just comes from different walks of life. They have different stuff happen to them. Like I left home when I was 15 years old. I had to work and go to high school at the same time, keep a roof over my head, all this type of stuff, right? Doesn't mean that I'm any less smarter or unintelligent than the next person, but I don't have a university education, and I've gotten to where I am by being street smart and learning everything using the resources that are around me.
Street smarts are take you a long way, that's for sure, man. And
so I applaud it. I applaud that, it's not as canned in the sense that, oh, you have to have a university education or not that, I'm not downplaying university education or anything like that either. Like it has its place as well, but I think it's just a great thing that, we can all find our place. And with the internet, with technology, there's so many more learning resources out there now that we don't need that traditional education, and it's expensive, right? Like there's a lot of kids are having trouble affording it and things like that as well. So it's nice to know that for our youth that they have those resources, and that companies are coming around to the fact that it is a brave new world. People are learning their skills in different ways. And it doesn't mean that they're either more or less qualified than the person who has that higher education.
Yeah, I've been to college.
It's not about education. It's about skill. What can you do?
I've been to college a bunch of times. I've done mostly vocational type stuff, radio and communications, and just learning those skills, and firefighting and EMT school, learning those skills for this part of my life. I could see that. Just learning, go for a couple of months, learn that skill, get the basics, and get on out and get into the world. And you could do the same thing on YouTube. You learn, you take a couple weeks to figure it out, or whatever it takes to figure it out. Was it the 10,000 hours to make you a proficient at everything? But it sounds like you've honed your craft. Craig Jamieson, I don't want to take any more of your time. Let's land this plane. But I do want to invite you back anytime you want to promote something different. If you want to, if you have new shows, I know that Big Records has got you going out. When is that concert? Is there a date?
The charity concert, the Dance Your Depression Away, August 16th, I think is going to be the date.
And where?
The venue's called Temperance. It's in London.
Oh, right there in your hometown.
Yep.
Beautiful, man. That's nice. You don't have to go far. Now, do you want to be a touring musician to where you tour around the world, or do you want to stay close to London town?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think it would be amazing to tour the world and play music, but I also have family obligations too. So I think it's all about balance. I kind of see it as like if I ever made it to where people really wanted to see me, it would be like sort of one night only, Craig playing Portugal kind of thing, and that type of idea, right? And sort of do it that way versus a full 6 month tour kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Even though that would be an absolute ball, but I don't think I could leave my obligations behind.
See, you're a responsible man, Craig Jamieson, and that's a wonderful
That'll
thing,
be my
man.
downfall in this business.
No, man. That means that you're going to be taking this route. Yeah, people can be in party bands and make money doing weddings and bar mitzvahs and corporate events every weekend in their hometown, or they can tour around the world. Look, there's many avenues. You already mentioned that you're in sync of putting your music, attempting to put your music into different forms of media, maybe television or movies or even commercials. I can hear a Craig Jamieson song. And I already forgot the name of your band.
Lucky Widmore Band.
Lucky Widmore Band. All I had to do was look it up on your LinkedIn there. And that I popped it up right there. But you're at craigjamieson.ca. Give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way. All through this video, you've been giving shout outs, name checking. I like people that give credit where credit is due. Your producer, your the people that are at your record company, your collaborator on Honey. You've given those name checks. Any other shout outs you want to give as we wind this thing down?
My father comes to mind. He's always been extremely supportive and he's always been kind of my rock. And he actually says that music saved my life, which is pretty interesting. He thinks I was going down a bad path. I don't feel like I was. I mean, I obviously had my struggles as an adolescent, but I don't know. He knows me pretty well. No, I mean, I think as far as what we've discussed, that's where the credit needs to be.
Very cool. All right, my man. Like I said, I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. If you have other things to promote, if you have other shows, if you have records that are coming out, you're invited to come back here anytime. But, let's go ahead and close this thing up for tonight. I always like to finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by. This could be a mantra that you heard a long time ago or whatever you wake up with every morning. Or Craig Jamieson, maybe whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Craig Jamieson, give the last words for the people.
Oh my God, I just want to say something profound, but all I can think of is if you're listening to this, I'd love for you to check out my new music video. We put a lot of work into it. It was a lot. It's a lot of fun. I think that it's worth the watch and it's very enjoyable content. So check that out at my YouTube channel, Craig Jamieson Sings, or I think it's on my website now. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Would love to hear what you have to think of it. And I guess, live your dream, like don't, I'm in my 40s and I'm still doing it. I'm still, living my dream and doing what makes me happy. And a wise man said that if you wake up every day and do what you love, you're not really working. So whatever that is that really puts a smile on your face and helps you get bed in the morning, I hope that everybody finds that for themselves and chases that for themselves.
Well, there you have it, party people. Craig Jamieson. What a good dude. The man gave up his music 10 years ago so he could raise a family. That's a good dude. And now that he's got the opportunity, he's going back into the music. You're going back into the music, Craig Jamieson. Thank you so much for being a part of the What Makes You Famous podcast. You're doing it, man. Hey, check out craigjamieson.ca for all your Craig Jamieson needs. And also, he's got the Lucky Widmore listed on there. Lucky Widmore, Widmore. Man, Lucky Widmore Band. That's catchy. That's catchy. Yeah. I had Keys Dan for a long time, and there's another Keys Dan in England. He even wrote to me. He said, I hope you don't sue me, mate. How could I? How could I? I've been using this moniker, but it's nice. See, Craig Jamieson and the Lucky Widmore Band on music platforms. Find them everywhere. I got all the links in the show notes. Make sure you follow Craig Jamieson and Lucky Widmore Band. Yeah, find out more, man. It's got that rock. It's got that pop. It's got that electronica. It's got it all. And I see more and more bigger and brighter things on the horizon for Craig Jamieson and the Lucky Widmore Band. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, yes, you, my loyal listener, turning my attention to you, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's keysdan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.